Well, welcome to Web Design Week 7. You can see that Week 7 goes from May 13th to the 19th. We're getting really close to the end of this course. This is the last main unit of work, and then you have the final project if you choose to do that. So you'll see that all this work you'll do using NVU, which you learned about the previous 2 weeks. So this is all about copyright law and what is right or wrong with using information from the internet. On Tuesday, I suggest you could do Section 1 and Section 2, and then you have a citations assignment, and I provide you a recording of how to do that. Then on Thursday, you can do Section 3, and you have 2 assignments. You have the permissions letter assignment and a copyright website assignment work that you'll do. And skip Section E, or Part E on that. And then, of course, you have the quiz 3 and the quiz preview you'll have available to you. So you can see not a lot of work this week, so it'll go pretty quickly. If you're behind in work, catch up your old work first, please. All right, copyright units. So let's move on down. So here we are in the copyright law introduction. And the first thing you want to do, of course, is look at the questions. So what is copyright? How's copyright related to internet publishing? So this just talks about when you publish a web page, people can dissect other people's web pages. You've learned about view source, where you can see all the coding. You can see everything in that web page, and it's easy to borrow stuff, isn't it? Well, what is right and what is wrong? So in this unit, we're going to look at determining copyright law, what is fair use for borrowed materials, search engines to finding graphics, citing graphics properly, and writing and getting somebody's permission to use their information. So Section 1, well, copyright is the legal term describing the right, actually it's really the rights given to creators for their literary artistic works, which are products of the mind. So copyright is products of the mind. So if you write a book, if you draw a picture, those should all be copyrighted if you want to. Now on the internet, when you upload to the internet, you automatically get copyright. So if you take a picture of yourself and post it online, you have copyright to that picture automatically. And then you decide whether you want to let others use it and those types of things. So those are the first couple of items. And there is something called fair use with copyright. So fair use means people can use some bits of it. So like you can use part of a copyright work for your assignment, but you have to make sure you cite your source. You can use a copyright source if you're making a parody or making fun of a movie or something like that. So you can see that there are some exceptions to it. And you can go to this website and find out more about copyright law. Lots of information here about copyright. Here's a little self-check quiz, so go ahead and do that, see what you know. So fair use. Well, fair use, as it says, is kind of vague and is shadowy law. And people kind of interpret it whichever way suits them best. So as we look at fair use, does the source say you can use the information for your own work? Does it say that it's free and you can do whatever you want to with it? If it's an original work that somebody has done, then usually you cannot use it. Is it very old? Things created before 1923, those are public domains, so those can be used by anybody. This one right here says even though Mona Lisa was painted before 1923 is in public domain, you cannot use a picture that somebody takes of the Mona Lisa. So you can think about those things. Anything published by the government, that's public domain, so free use. And if it's used for educational purposes, there are limits on what you can do, but you have a little bit more leeway as far as using other resources. So there's a little practice quiz. Go ahead and take that. Let's go to the write-up, see if we answer a question. What is copyright? We did that. How's copyright related to internet publishing? We talked about that. What are the 5 questions to ask yourself to see if something falls under fair use? So we looked at that. That was right here in section 1, part B. So there are 5 questions there. Okay, section 2. So finding and saving, actually I need to go back to that and look at the questions, don't I? So right here, for questions 4 and 5, this is for two questions. Explain the process to save an image in URL so you can cite the image properly. Okay. So finding and citing sources. Of course, there are many ways that you can find and cite. You can use a Google search and all of that. So lots of ways you can do it. And really the way to do it is click on the photo to see the full open site. So I'm going to give you an example. So I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to do an image search. So I click image at the top and I'm going to do tiger. I want tigers in nature. So now look at these. So a lot of you would say that this is the source right up here, that URL. Well, look at the top. How long do you think the URL is? Look at it. That is not the image source. That thing is, a mile long. It just is the source of where it was found in Google. But I need to click on the image. I'm still not on it, but now if I click it, now I'm to where that image lives. Now look at this URL at the top. Can you see the difference? That URL is much smaller, so now I'm where the image lives. This is the URL that I would want to use. So you have to go to the actual page that the image is sourced on. So you go right to the page where the image lives. Excuse me. Now to save the image, you right click on it, save image as, save it where you want it, and then you highlight that web address. So going back to this, here's where the image is. If I want it, I'd right click, save picture as, and then I would save it. But at the same time, after I did that, then I would take the URL, copy it, and then paste it into a Word document. So then I have that URL that goes along with that picture. So that's the point I'm trying to make in the steps of saving where the picture comes from. So you know how to get back to the picture. So finding and saving and citing sources. This is APA style. So the name of the author, the date the web page was last updated, the title of the web page, the date you retrieved it. So all that information. So if we look down here, you can see that this is what Pamela cited, or this is what someone cited when they used a picture that Pamela Dooley had posted. So that's the standard ALA citation right here. That's the standard or APA citation. So let's go to the write-up and see if we've answered the question. Okay, the processor for that we did. What is a basic format for APA style citation? I just showed that to you. Then in section 3, what is a mistake most people make when citing images on a web search? What process might you have to go through to use resources that are outside of fair use? Explain why copyright law exists. Give 2 reasons. Okay, so we did that. We did part B. I really didn't do all this. So, okay, so part B. We looked at citing, and now we get into an assignment. This is a citations assignment. So in this one, you're going to find a topic of interest to you. Make sure it's school appropriate. Use probably Google search, find 4 pictures about your topic. So again, if I was going to do tigers, I would find those 4 images. So I'd save those images in my Unit 3 folder. I showed you how to do that. Resize the images. I'd make sure I got the addresses for each one. Then I'm going to make a 2x3 column table. Do a column span for the 2 top cells to put your title in the cell. And I have a demo on how to do this. You'll use CSS, etc. So you do that citations assignment. So essentially you're practicing getting pictures from other resources and then creating a citations page for them. This doesn't say to turn it in, but you're going to turn it in. You're going to zip the Unit 3 folder to submit that. Okay, Google search. Well, the biggest thing, and I talked about this before, the biggest things people use, the biggest mistake when citing sources, is they cite the search engine and not the exact page. I showed you that, I demonstrated that. So you need to do the exact page that the thing lives on. So this talks about that, and I walked you through that process a minute ago, didn't I? Okay, obtaining permission. This might be what you'd have to do if you use somebody's information that wasn't open for fair use. So they're going to have you do on this, you would write a letter. You need to find out who holds the information, who holds the right to it. Then you write the letter, and you can read all about it. I mean, you can do it by phone, but a letter is the best way because then you have proof that you asked. So you include this information to ask for somebody permission to use their resource. So here's a sample letter, and you'll need to use this in the next assignment, so make sure you understand how to do this. So there's a sample letter. So now the assignment for this. What you're going to do is you're going to do a search on the word graphs and find an interesting graph, something that is kind of neat to look at. So if I go here to, I'll go back to Google, image search, type the word graph, and I see a bunch of graphs here. So maybe I want to use this one. Then I click on that a couple of times, and I find it. So there's the picture, there's the web page it comes back from. Of course, that's on Wikipedia, so that's open source anyway. So you want to find an image that is in a, on a like a business website or something. But anyway, you go and find a graph. You're going to save that image, and you're going to write a letter, permissions letter, to use that image. So use the sample letter on the previous screen to write a letter to the author to ask if you're going to use it, if you can use it. You're not going to actually send the letter, but you're going to turn the letter in to me. Making sure that you fulfilled all of these requirements. And if we go back to part B, remember here's a sample letter, all the requirements. In the discussion on copyright, we're not going to do that, so don't worry about it. Was that the end of that? So permissions letter, and then this copyright website assignment. I don't think we're doing this one. Now let me go back to the assignment. 7. Yes, we are doing the copyright website assignment. So let's go back to that. So this copyright website assignment. You're going to make a folder called copyright inside your Unit 3 folder, and you have an images folder inside there. You're going to create some styles using external CSS. And what you're going to do, you're going to have 2 pages. First page will be a narrative where you set up the scene and present a situation on when a person must decide about using an image from somebody else's website. That's going to be the first page. Then the second page is going to be your answer to the question. And you'll have those pages linked together. So you'll link from the situation page to the correct answer on the second page. And the second page you'll link back to the first page, to the index page. At least one appropriate image on each page. So you've done plenty of work now. I might create a recording for this, I'm not sure. But this is going to be a 2-page website with a situation on page 1. Then Then the second page giving the right thing a person should do and the wrong thing a person should do. And then that first page links to the second page. Actually, the second page should be exactly what the person should do. Not a right and wrong, but just a right. So the right thing the person would do. And then page 1 links to page 2. So that's all the work for this unit. And of course, you have the quiz and the quiz preview right here for you. I keep telling you, use the quiz previews because I give you the exact quiz there. So week 7, all of this in week 7, all of that work. Okay, that's all I have for you. I look forward to your work coming in, and this week's work isn't that daunting, so some pretty good points to get this week for not a lot of work. So I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.